this is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach, here to deliver a message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to inspire and empower you to live out your wildest freaking dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I missed you. I missed you so much. I'm not just making that up. I'm truly speaking it real and raw and from my heart. I genuinely love every single Tuesday where I get to just connect with you guys on a deeper level and hear from you guys and hear your heart, and you are able to tell me what is on your mind and all of the things in the world that I can do that has helped you or helped you overcome. I love getting DM messages from so many incredible humans that just tell me like, hey, this episode resonated with me, or this is what I did after I listened to this episode, because that is truly why I did this. When I look back on why I started the Your Life Matters podcast, I really wanted to set the tone for a podcast that could give you tangible things to take away in order to live a better life and to have the life that you had always dreamed of and always hoped for. And I truly believe that we are doing that here on this podcast. So, like I said, I missed you. I love taking pride in each episode. I never want to just throw together a podcast episode because you guys deserve more from me. So last week, as I enjoyed turning 29, I took the week to just really reflect and hone in on where I was mentally, physically, emotionally. And for many of you guys who have followed me on social media, thank you so much for wishing me a happy birthday. It was amazing. Lee did an incredible job. The girls were incredible. Bianca actually made me cry because she actually sang happy birthday by herself. So it was such an amazing week, and I'm just so grateful for you guys. So here we are, and we are closing up, and we're wrapping up the Mariah How Did You Know series. And the best way, the only way that I could think of wrapping this up is a topic that many people have actually asked for and requested, and I only felt like it was fitting to wrap it up this way. And this episode is, Mariah, how did you know you'd make it out of the hard season? And so often we are so self-reflective on the hard seasons that we're currently in. And I want you to sit and imagine a blizzard or a dust storm or just the worst water tides that you've ever experienced. And that's how your life feels. Like it is constantly moving and shaking and scary and fearful. And in that season, it is so hard to see the other side. It's so hard to see that the tides calm down just 2 miles ahead. It's so hard to see that the dust settles if you just walk another 50 feet. It's so hard to comprehend that that blizzard does come to an end if you just get outside of the cloud. And it is so hard when we are in a season of hurt and turmoil and angst, and just one thing after another keeps happening to where we feel like, how can I take another step? How can I get through this hard season? And you feel like nothing, literally nothing is going right. And that no matter how hard you try, that it just feels like you're sinking or drowning or just can't put one foot in the front of the other. Have you felt that before? Have you ever had a season of hard that just felt unimaginably difficult and painful, and like there was not going to be another side to this season? I have. But when I say, Mariah, how did you know you'll get on the other side of the hard season or make it out? Truthfully, friends, I didn't. Not in the beginning anyway. I didn't know how I was going to make it through this hard because, I'm going to take myself back to my 16-year-old self, and you get grounded and you can't go to a party and you think it's the end of the world. And then on hindsight, you realize it was one party with friends that really weren't your friends. And it's really not that big of a deal that you didn't go to this party. And now looking at 29 at my 16-year-old self, throwing an absolute fit and getting even in more trouble and more grounded because I was throwing this fit. Like, you have this understanding that in the moment, it seems like the world is falling apart and it's earth-shattering and you can't see past it. But then as you grow, you start to understand that it's a moment in time. So when I first started dealing with difficult seasons, the one that pops off in my head the most is the difficult season of being told that I wasn't moving into the next house with my family, that I was going to have to figure it out, and I was going to figure out how to stand on my own 2 feet. I was really young, and I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know what was going to happen. All I remember is that feeling of absolute defeat, that my family didn't love me, that I was given up on, and that they told me that I would figure it out. And all I got was my car and my clothes and my body and my mind and my heart and my spirit. And I just had to feel this sense of, okay, I'm homeless. I'm surfing on different couches and beds and staying with some of my best friends. And then finally getting into situations that, were helpful. But I remember that season of hard, feeling like I didn't belong anywhere and I didn't fit anywhere. And that my family had given up on me. And I remember that season of hard. And then the next season of hard is that feeling of being in a relationship for almost 6 years, that I married this man and had to figure out a way to leave a domestically violent situation. And that most humans in those situations either don't leave or end up dead. And I had to realize that in those seasons, although it felt like there was no way out, that there was no light at the end of the tunnel, I remember coming out on the other side and saying, holy cow, that season was hard, but I didn't die. I made it through. And I had to just believe, to put one foot in front of the other, that I would make it out. So now when I go into seasons of hard, using that reflection of the seasons that I've already overcome and already gone through, I beat my odds 100% of the time. My odds are always in my favor. The odds of me getting through that hard season, I'm a champion of them. I'm a champion in every single season. I've overcome every single season. And here's how. I've beat out my hardest moments. I've beat out my toughest days. I've won out my toughest critics. I stood in the arena where my face was marred, and I continued to step one foot in front of the other, and I got through that season. Whether that season was 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, I got through that season. And now I realize that any time I start to put myself in this panic mode or angst, I sit back and reflect on, Mariah, you have overcome this and this and this and this, and the odds are in your favor. My odds are good. I am a champion. And then when I feel angst, even after I have said that, I have faith. I have faith in the human that I was born to be. I have faith to believe that I am worthy and that I can overcome the hardest situations, because guess what? I've already overcome my hardest day. The hardest day I've ever lived in my life, I have already lived it and overcome it because I'm here. So when I'm facing that season and that wind starts blowing, or those tides start rocking, or that blizzard starts coming down and I can't see in front of me, guess what I do? Metaphorically, I put my hands over my heart, I take a deep breath, and I continue to put one foot in front of the other, understanding that life is not meant to be easy. Life is not meant to be simple. Life is not meant to be a cakewalk. If it was, What would be the point? But I also understand that this life is not a dress rehearsal. This life is the only life that I have. And the only way that I fail at life is if I quit and completely give up and stop putting one step in front of the other. One thing that I do know is that even in the most hard situations and seasons of my life, I always learn something. I always gather knowledge. And it's like, think back to the first significant other you were ever with. We all have that moment where you're like, you were either cheated on, or it wasn't a real relationship, or it's what our parents used to call puppy love, and we would get so irate about it. And we had to sit back and be like, no, that just wasn't a good fit for me. That wasn't going to be my one and only partner. And you learn from it. You learn your likes and dislikes, what you wanted, what you didn't want. And not everything is as simple as your high school crush. But just using that metaphorically, think of how much you learned, because now here you are, and maybe you're single, or maybe you're in a relationship, or maybe you're married. Whatever the situation is, you've learned what you can tolerate, what you won't tolerate, what you want, what you like, what you love, what you won't put up with. You've learned all of that. And if we go to a season where many of you, I just had the amazing experience to speak to some women this past weekend who have overcome the most remarkable things. And I think about where they are and where I was and where we were together, and think about that hardest day, that hardest season. I know that each and every one of us can sit back and say, I learned so much about myself, the strength, the grace, the commitment, the grit, the relentlessness, the resiliency that I have because of that season. I became a better person because of that season. Now, did it try to rip me apart? Did it try to tear me down to pieces? Did it try to literally get me to stop and completely quit? Absolutely. But I put my hands over my heart, I took a deep breath, and I put one foot in front of the other. My friends, you can grow and you can overcome anything you put your mind to. So right now in this moment, we have experienced so much in the last 18 months. So much loss and pain, so much turmoil, so much, issues that have been risen and re-risen and re-risen again. There's been so much and such a hard season. Guys, as I sit here and say that, I'm speaking to you guys without a mask, but for the last 10 hours, I've been wearing a mask across my face. And yes, we all are to a point where we're just tired. But I want to remind you, it's just a season. Will it be like this forever? No. Because it's life and it's time and it's how things evolve and change, and everything is constantly going. But you have to be willing to know that it's just a season and to just put one foot in front of the other. Maybe you're experiencing loss or grief. There's so many stages in all of that. And I allow you to feel your stage and where you are. And I provide solace and comfort knowing that you aren't alone. But I also want to provide you the freedom and the love and the belief in yourself and who you are to know that you will overcome this season. Maybe you're in this unimaginable predicament where you feel lost or unsafe or just fearful beyond belief. I want to provide you the understanding that if you just keep going, this season will end. The tide smooths, the dust settles, the snow stops. You will overcome any season because, my friend, you've already overcome the hardest day you have ever lived. You've already beat every battle. You've already won every fight. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself or anyone else. You will continue to overcome day in and day out, as long as you believe and have faith that you are worthy, that you are loved, that you are wanted, that you are needed, and that you, my friend, are more than enough. And above all, your life matters. My friends, I'm so grateful that you enjoyed this series with me. Please let me know your favorite episode. And the best way that I will know anything is if you leave a rating and a review. That is how podcasts work. Share with me. Let me know. Reach out to me. You can follow me at Dr. Mariah White on Instagram. I even created a TikTok. And I even have the Your Life Matters podcast on Instagram as well. Message me. Let me know what I can do to serve you. But until another episode next Tuesday, I hope you understand how loved you are and that your life matters.
What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Your Life Matters podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. I just ask that you share this episode with somebody. I ask you to just share it and give it to somebody who could potentially need to hear this message. I really am on a mission to help hundreds of thousands of people to believe that their mess is their message and that their story really does matter and that above all, their life matters. I'm so grateful that you're here. I want you to share this episode. And then on top of that, if you could please leave a rating or a review or both. Let me know what speaks to you. Let me know what you need to hear. Let me know what you've connected with, because that's going to be the best way that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you need. I love you guys with all my heart. I'm so grateful for you, and I want you to know the difference and the impact you guys make in my life. I love seeing your messages. I love seeing when you guys private message me or screenshot it and share it on Instagram or Facebook, because it lets me know that this podcast is doing exactly what it was meant to do. And it's to make sure that there's an impact being made and to help remind you and everyone else that your life matters.